Hello and welcome to the College Investor Audio Show. We are so glad you're hanging out with us today as we take a look at whether or not you're going to be paying taxes on student loan forgiveness. It is a great question, and we're going to dive in just a second. But first, just a quick reminder, anytime you hear a topic on the podcast, there's an article that you can find right along with it at thecollegeinvestor.com. And inside the article, there's always links and different resources where you can dive deeper on every topic. You can also ask questions, get to know us. We'd love to get to know you and help you along in your journey with money at the College Investor. Just search for the College Investor on social media and you'll find us. Okay, so you going to pay taxes on forgiveness or not? So when debt is canceled or forgiven, the general rule under IRS Topic 431 is that the canceled amount counts as taxable income, unless there's an exception. So for student loans, if you receive forgiveness of a federal student loan or discharge and no exception applies, the amount may be reported on a Form 1099-C and taxed. Grr. However, most forgiven student loans from 2021 to 2025 are excluded from federal income tax. Yay! After December 31st, Happy New Year, 2025, the exclusion will expire and forgiven amounts may again be taxable. Grr. However, oh, you better believe it, there are some programs that are always tax-free federally, and when it comes to state taxes and student loan forgiveness, there are just a whole bunch of exceptions. Which student loan forgiveness programs remain tax-free? Well, let's take a look at three of them. PSLF for qualifying public service borrowers, teacher loan forgiveness for certain low-income schools, total and permanent disability TPD discharges, and a bonus, death discharges. Borrowers in these programs typically will not owe federal taxes on forgiven debt even after 2025. However, state rules do vary. Like Mississippi, for example, does tax PSLF forgiveness. Thanks, Mississippi. What types of loan forgiveness programs become taxable again in next year, 2026? Well, the tax exemption from most forgiveness under ARPA ends on New Year's Eve 2025. Any forgiveness that is completed in 2026 might be taxable. This is called the student loan tax bomb. And borrowers may be unprepared. These types of loan forgiveness programs will be taxable again. Income-driven repayment plan, time-based loan forgiveness, borrower defense to repayment, cancellation for closed school, cancellation for false certification of the loan, cancellation for unpaid refund of the loan. It's important to note that the Department of Education affirmed that the effective date of cancellation for tax purposes is when you meet the forgiveness milestone. For example, for IBR-based stuff, it's when you cross 240 or even 300 payments. If that happens in 2025, there are no taxes, even if they don't actually process the loan forgiveness until the next year. So here's how to estimate your tax liability. I know for a whole bunch of people, the thought of paying taxes on something that's forgiven can be daunting. However, you shouldn't worry about what the tax implication will be years down the road. The best thing you can do is pick a student loan repayment plan or pursue forgiveness path that works for you. There's a whole bunch of things that can happen between now and forgiveness, including changes to the law, which happen all the time. Furthermore, you might not even owe taxes because of insolvency. This is a complicated tax process, but we do break it down inside this article at thecollegeinvestor.com. You can also run the College Investor's Student Loan Tax Bomb Estimator in this article as well. Let's take a look at just a few FAQs. Will I get a Form 1099-C for forgiven loans? If forgiven debt is treated as taxable, you'll receive a 1099-C. If it falls within a tax-exempt program or falls under the 2021 through 25 exclusion, you might not receive one. Question: my loan forgiveness is forgiven in 2024 but processed in 2026. Do I still get the tax exclusion? Yes. Question: does state tax apply if federal tax is waived? Maybe. Some states tax forgiven federal loans, even if they're excluded federally, like Mississippi, for instance. One more question. What if my debt is large and I cannot afford the tax? You might qualify for an exclusion of the forgiven amount if you are insolvent, if your liabilities exceed your assets, or if you're under bankruptcy. You're going to have to find a tax advisor to talk about it, though. The bottom line, student loan forgiveness has been tax-free under federal law for loans forgiven through 2025, but that is going to change. For borrowers whose forgiveness will occur in 26 or later, unless you're in tax-exempt programs, tax liability is likely. Act now. Verify your program, estimate your liability, save now, and consult a tax pro. That is our show for today. Thank you so much for stopping by and being a part of this. If you want to find out more, dive deeper, look at all the rules and everything else, you can find all the resources right inside this article at thecollegeinvestor.com. Thanks again for stopping by today, and we will talk to you again real soon.